Hello, everyone. Welcome to Caret Dialogues by Caret Capital, a venture capital fund that backs category building startups, making India's value chain efficient and powering its growth story. In today's video, we have with us Vineet Agarwal. Vineet is the managing director at Transport Corporation of India Limited. He has also served a stint as a president at Asochan. He has been instrumental in transforming the TCI Group as India's leading integrated supply chain solutions provider. He has initiated strategic JVs like Trans-System Logistics International Private Limited, a joint venture of Mitsui and Company Japan, which is the sole logistics partner for Toyota Kirloskar Motors Limited in India, and with TCI Concord, Multimodal Solutions Private Limited, a JV with Government of India Undertaking and Container Corporation of India Limited. That's quite an introduction, Vineet. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So we'll just start off with the questions. My first question to you is, with India aspiring to become a leading manufacturing and export economy, logistics will play a crucial role. Where does the logistics sector stand today, both in terms of domestic as well as international?
So yes, the role of logistics in manufacturing and essentially for the growth of the country is very, very paramount. We have basically the cost of logistics in India is quite high. Now that number varies from people to people, but to be competitive, we really need to bring down the overall cost of logistics. And essentially what we mean by that is not just the transportation cost, but other things that are required to bring down the cost. For example, standardization that is needed or digitization that is needed. So like the cost of transportation is high in the country because we are really looking at, and we're doing a lot more road transportation, which is about 65% of the overall freight movement. And rail is about 25%, and the coastal shipping is about 6%. So this ratio is quite skewed, and that really makes the cost of logistics quite high. So beyond cost, we have to look at productivity, and productivity comes from standardization to a great extent, or digitization.
Right.
If you have a standard type of truck, then loading and unloading gets easier. Or if you are digitizing your documentation, that helps in ensuring that productivity and efficiency is high in the sector. So for us to be a competitive nation, we really need to focus on logistics.
Great. Thank you so much. And what are the gaps in the logistics industry that remain unfulfilled even today? And why do you think they're there?
Yeah, some of the things that I just mentioned in terms of the fact that there is the lack of standardization. The overall industry is quite fragmented, and it is quite unorganized, and it is slowly, the formalization has started to happen with GST, with e-way bill, and digitization of payments. So we are getting to that stage. There is a lot to be done. As I mentioned, maybe you're looking at truck sizes to be common. You're looking at mode of transport to change. You're looking at people adopting better accounting practices in their businesses.
Right.
We're looking at providing higher quality of services. We are looking at ensuring that the customer, let's say at the omni-channel, customers buying today from both online as well as offline retail stores, how are we able to fulfill their needs properly at the right cost? So many times you go to a store, they might tell you that, look, this size is not available.
Right.
So how does that fulfillment work more efficiently? So there are lots of areas there. There's still a lot of gaps.
Right. And any technologies that have recently caught your attention, and how do you think that these startups that are coming up with these new technologies, new innovations, how are they contributing towards the sector?
So any startup that comes or any new innovative ideas that are coming into the business of transforming logistics is clearly going to be useful, because it's going to drive change, is going to drive improvement in as well as productivity improvement. But more importantly, I think the thought process starts changing.
Right.
And when the process starts changing, we start looking at things very differently. So off late, we've been seeing a lot of interesting ideas around AI-based optimization tools, or using a lot of APIs, etc., which the government is providing to integrate into something called the ULIP, Unified Logistics Interface Platform.
Right.
Those would be ways where commerce in India could become much, much faster. I mean, simple things like digitization of invoices, that doesn't happen. Our customers don't accept it yet. So when those things start happening, we'll see a dramatic change in the way that logistics is done in the country.
Right. Thank you for that answer. And there's been a lot of industry talk about multimodal logistics, right? And how can multimodal logistics make the Indian supply chain more efficient?
So the cost of logistics is clearly dependent on how we can move faster towards multimodal logistics. And that in terms of mix change, how can we move towards more rail cargo as well as coastal shipping? Again, that will drive the growth of the sector. Intermodal movement of cargo seamlessly, which is through having the right documentation in place, having the right systems in place is equally critical. And I think with e-way bill as well as ULIP that I just mentioned,
Right.
those things are getting easier. So it is a very, very important subject. Fortunately, the government is also quite focused on it with the PM Gati Shakti program, where a lot of multimodal infrastructure is getting built. So this will certainly help in the shift to more and more different modes of transport.
Great. And coming to now green logistics, what do you think is what are the opportunities and the challenges here in this particular vertical?
So green logistics comes from several areas. So multimodal will also drive green logistics because that would mean that your carbon emission when you're moving from road to rail or to sea is going to be much, much lesser. So that's one area. The second is on the last mile side, we are seeing a lot of changes towards electric vehicles. So our thought process is that on the short hauls, we will see probably EV and CNG, LNG, and on the long hauls, CNG, LNG, as well as hydrogen in the future. So it's a hub and spoke kind of a system. So the
Right.
decarbonization of the logistics transport sector is something that in the next 5 to 10 years, we'll see it accelerating very fast. And it will start with the last mile and then move to the other areas.
Thank you for that answer. My last question now, that India's spend on infrastructure is expected to reach about 143 trillion rupees by 2030. Do you think this investment is enough in this particular sector?
So infrastructure spend in the last 25 years has always been a catch-up game. We were
Right.
building for the past and not for the future,
Right.
because we used to build an airport and used to be over capacity in a few years. Build a road and it's already congested. So to plan for the future means that we would need to have a very long-range thought process, maybe 25 years and beyond, in terms of where and what is the need, and do we have those planners that can do that? Fortunately, we are seeing there is some thought process around that. At least in the last 4 or 5 years, the planning has changed, and the expenditure on infrastructure in the previous budget and in the recent interim budget has been scaled up dramatically. I'm very confident that this is a step there, but clearly a lot needs to be done more. So yeah, so the answer is yes and no.
Right. Thank you so much, Vineet. That's about all for today. It was great to listen to these interesting insights from you, and we hope to stay connected with you. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you, Ritika.
Okay. Bye-bye.